them before, right?
But anyway.
Come, folks. And this is what
Oh,
Harvey sees as...
Can you guys still see the video? Because I can't.
Yes.
I might be having problems too. Hang on.
Okay, we're at 6 minutes 34.
I'll just leave the activity and join again and see if that fixes it.
Yeah. Is this about the man in cave story? Yes. Very clearly, H. Bomber Guy was just doing a political attack against an internet historian. When you see something like that, you can just kind of dismiss it out of hand. It's a similar thing with this quibbling over the numbers in the rape inquiry report, which I'm doing a video on, where clearly it's not just, people aren't just genuinely, I mean, some people are genuinely interested in what the true number is. Some people. But a lot of these people are just, they're looking for some reason to counter-signal the report. They're just trying to glom onto whatever they can in order to counter-signal it. And like,
and I'm gonna join through my browser and see if that fixes it.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Like, that is just, it is sickening to me. Like the lady who was like, well, these, I'll try not to laugh. The county line, that refers to a phone line, and that means the whole report. It's like, shut up, lady. Clearly, she's just jilted.
There's a typo in the report.
Yeah, she's just jilted because she wasn't included in the report, and she wasn't hired for it, and so she's looking for any reason to try and shut it down because she's pissed off. Like, fuck off, lady. Are you able to see the video again, Acorn?
It's still a black screen for me, although it might be because it's paused.
Wait. Oops, a daisies.
We're income, folks.
Okay, yeah, I can see it now. 6
Cool.
minutes and 31 seconds.
Cool.
Is this the problems you mentioned about, what's it called, Discord's watch together, just randomly going off sometime?
Yeah, it's just so bad. Like, that's why I set up a Jellyfin server for this, but then it wasn't working. It wasn't allowing me. So I even fucking downloaded the video to play over Jellyfin. Like, Jellyfin, oh my god, if I can just get it working. For one,
how does Jellyfin usually work?
So it's basically like a media server that you can have, like Plex, for instance. But you can have a watch together. So I made accounts for like people who I'd done video reviews with before, and like some guest accounts, and like they would be then able to log in to this Jellyfin server that lives on my computer, and then it would be like seamless watch together, no problems. But earlier it wasn't fucking working, so I was trying to update my computer to get it to work again, and it's taking too long.
Right, so usually would I just need to log on to one of the accounts you created, and then I can just watch together with you? Yeah,
exactly. I could just give you a link, and then you can log in, and then it would be perfect.
Yeah, that seems great. Welcome back, Rennick. Is it working for you now?
Fuck it, just play the video. We'll see what happens.
Right.
I'm hearing a lot of ringing, like a notification sort of thing on the background. That's the same sort of sound as activity.
I mean, that's when I join and leave the call. That's probably what happened.
Right.
This is what Harvey sees as the city.
Alright, yeah, there we go. Is
that working for you guys?
Yep, works for me.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
We don't necessarily have a right to the city. Some people have the right to the city, those with more resources than others.
This is the other thing with like leftists. You get this a lot with New York leftists, where they are staunch import infinity immigrants people. But the second somebody's a transplant, that's the name for it, a transplant to New York, that is, they weren't born and raised in New York, they want you to fucking like hang from the rafters. They hate the fact that you exist.
You can't be a New Yorker unless you were born in New York.
Like,
that's what, you know. Okay, I see where you're coming from. Why not?
It's blood and soil New Yorkerism. It's this is like the common opinion there. It's crazy to me.
The city.
I mean, it's like how with tariffs, a lot of people would support international tariffs, like between different countries, and then suddenly, a tariff between like different states in America. Oh, that's just crazy talk. Clearly wouldn't work.
The funny thing is there were tariffs between different states. That was like before the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
That's like during the Articles of Confederation, they had interstate tariffs. That was the justification, part of it, for like drafting the Constitution and the new like federal government, right? To get rid of these interstate tariffs.
It's like what's that Remy song from Reason TV, where he's like talking about like we should put tariffs on bananas. That was it. They should be growing in East Atlanta.
So we can have the shitty bananas that we built, make our own bananas here.
Yeah, like it's like I think the Chicagoites got it right with their analogy that international trade. It's basically, imagine there was a big box, and you put money into this box, and it would give you whatever the hell you wanted. Like this was seen like a magical invention. But it turns out somebody removes the box one day, and it's just a port, and you're just trading with people overseas. That's what trade is. It's a magic box that you put money into, and it gives you anything you can imagine.
And people will like say it like there's a security concern, like, oh well, if we're trading with China, then China gets like more developed and stronger. Okay, well, like imagine you're a company, right? And you also have security concerns, right? You let's say you're buying chips from Taiwan. Well, like if I'm a company, right, and I want to keep existing, and I'm worried that China is going to invade Taiwan, I'm gonna try to think if there's an alternative so that my business isn't exposed to this massive risk of the Taiwan semiconductor company being obliterated, right? And I mean, also the other question is like everyone who's really worried about China invading Taiwan for the semiconductor company, right? Like, okay, what's the Chinese Communist Party going to do once they annex Taiwan, right? They kill all of the nationalists. They institute total turbo communism on Taiwan, and they have TSMC. They've kidnapped all the engineers. Are they going to start eating the chips? Or what are they going to do? Are they going to? They're not going to export them anymore? They're not going to sell them? What are they going to do with the chips now they have them, right? Like, right.
Yeah, like, I understand why people in Taiwan are like concerned about that. Obviously, they would be. But it's really, how about this? If you're concerned about that, how about you advocate for capitalism back home, and then you can have these companies spring up back home, and then you don't have to fucking concern yourself with it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in the US and you're like, we want, like, we need to defend Taiwan because they have really good chip manufacturing, right? Well, like, and you know, it's just really hard to have chip manufacturing in the US. I wonder why. You know? I really wonder. Given all the people who are protesting like the data centers being built, which are like a fraction as like difficult to construct as a chip manufacturing facility, I really wonder why it's so hard to build a chip factory in the US.
Yeah, oh my god, my fucking stepmom is like one of those people who thinks AI like drinks up absurd amounts of water. It's like, I was trying to tell her, like, no. In fact, like a Google search, if you eat a hamburger, you've used up more water than like thousands of ChatGPT queries. Like, where do you think the water goes when it's being used to cool these data centers? Like, it doesn't just go into they don't beam it into space. Like, it goes back into the water cycle. It
gets destroyed. Antimatter.
Like, I don't understand this concern. It's insane to me.
Some days on Twitter, I wish that the data centers did like suck the water out and just obliterate it. So that what we could do, we could take anti-AI people and we could just melt them. We could convert them into water because the human body is like 70% water. So we could just take anti-AI people and we could feed them into the coolant port for the data centers, and it would cool them down. It would be a good use of resources.
Yeah, use the remains to fill potholes, I guess.
Exactly. So he gets it.
Something that we have the right to, like the freedom of speech in some cases, but it's something that we have to live with, something that we experience and something that we deal with on the ladders of capitalism. Each person, based on their background, how they look, their socioeconomic status, they all have different experiences.
I'm starting to come around to the view that whenever a person says the word socioeconomic, you can just stop listening to them from that point on. Like, I've never heard it used in a proper context, like anything approaching rational speech.
I've used it in a proper context, but only in like world building conversations when I'm writing my science fiction work. It's like the socioeconomic conditions of these people, because they have an interesting social structure and they are in a dangerous economic situation. So that's socioeconomic.
Yeah, but it seems to me like whenever like a leftist says that, it's almost always said by a leftist. It just means, well, of course this guy stabbed the white girl to death whilst saying, I got that white bitch. Of course he said that because he was poor. And when you're poor, you commit crimes.
Conditions what made him commit crime.
Yeah, it's like, okay, buddy, I have been very poor before. Fabian Liberty has been even poorer than me. He's been homeless before.
Homeless and starving. Like, he hadn't eaten for like 5 days or something. It was crazy.
And he still wasn't going around pushing people onto a subway tracks. It's crazy to me.
Stabbing them.
Yeah, he wasn't doing that.
The difference is that Fabian Liberty is white, whereas in that case it's a black person. And as we all know, black people, they can't help themselves. They must murder.
It's like the old joke. Somebody comments on, they see a picture of a hackathon, and they say, "Imagine the smell." And then everyone's like, "What the heck? That's racist," because there's brown people at the hackathon. That's racist. You saying that they must smell. He's like, "No, I was just talking about it because they're nerds." It's like, you can't fool us. We all know who smells.
What do you mean by that? Are you sure? The racist and anti-racist horseshoe, you know.
Experiences of living in a city. Who gets to live where, who gets pushed out, are all affected by these capitalist.
No. Who gets to live where? That's affected by city zoning laws. You described zoning laws there, sir. Zoning laws, like, get rid of those. Yeah, get rid of the government. That's capitalism. Capitalism is, you can live wherever the fuck you want if you're gonna fucking afford it, right? Because you're not entitled to other people, right? You're not entitled to the labor of other people. That's fundamentally, like, why I just don't buy any of these concerns over, like, oh, the capitalists, they think they can take all this from the laborers. It's like, well, okay, that was agreed upon. Take the flip side. Take the flip side of the communists. They want to enslave people so that they can have what they want. They think they're entitled to the bodies of other people so that they can have their communist dream. That is the literal interpretation of what he's saying.
Structures. So as the Harvey piece illustrates, Marxism isn't a regime, it isn't a social movement. In this case, it is just a lens to critique the way we live on a daily basis.
Critique. There's that word again. Big capital C. Critique. He's a Kantian.
Marxist theory can help us identify the unequal structures of a capitalist society and how it affects everyday individuals. So in practice, often what we're talking about in the news media or online, Marxism is quite different than how it's applied theoretically. An interesting point of this is a key.
Brother, you gotta stop with that fucking weird ass cut. I gotta keep pointing out. You gotta stop with that. Like, it's been too many times now. I'm sorry. You gotta cut that. You gotta cut that out. Cut that cut.
The assumption by Marx was that the so-called Marxist revolution or the class revolution or the socialist revolution was likely, or in some cases could be viewed as inevitable in some parts of society and in some states in particular.
No. It wasn't. In some cases, in some society, in some way it could be viewed as inevitable. No, he was saying it's an inevitable next step in history that there's going to be a communist revolution. Like, this guy is misrepresenting. And that's exactly what I said he would do. He's misrepresenting what the Marxian theory of history says. Marxian theory of history says, 100% no doubt about it, there will be a communist revolution. We are predestined to enter communism. Because that is the synthesis.
Like, most modern Marxists, quote unquote, like, don't believe in dialectical materialism. Except when it's convenient for them, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem with, like, Marxism and particularly pragmatism. Like, if you argue with anyone who's like a schooled, like, academic pragmatist, like they went to university and they studied William James, they are some of the most frustrating people to argue with, because they will believe things only as long as it is convenient for them, right? Because that's literally what pragmatism does to you, right? And Marxists, in the modern sense, are largely pragmatists because they go to university, and the underlying structure of basically all university courses works on the philosophy of pragmatism, right? So they're Marxists because they are pragmatically Marxists, right? Marxism appeals to their ethical presuppositions, and then the Marxist theory obviously kind of fits in, right? But then as soon as dialectical materialism is kind of inconvenient for them to believe, they don't believe in it. Exactly.
Like, and this is what I was going over earlier, like, before you came on. They believe in contradiction right down to the core. So it's no problem for them, for Hayaz al-Din, to switch on a dime between being a determinist and being a free willist. But it's no bother to him because he believes in contradiction right down to his core. And if they were just honest about what they believe, this is why you can't find an honest Marxist. Because if they were honest about what they're saying, you would assume they're schizophrenic. It sounds like the belief system of a schizophrenic. It really does.
Because the capitalist elites exploited the working class so much. An interesting point from Marx's own work is that he thought that the Marxists, socialists, the workers' revolution was a likely outcome in many capitalist.
Not likely outcome. Inevitable. Inevitable. Drop this word, lucid politics, if you're watching this. I hope you do. Drop this understanding of Marxism where it's like, well, it's a likely outcome that there will be a communist revolution here because of these reasons. That is not what Marx is saying. Marx is saying, given the fact that there is class struggle, contradiction exists between the proletarian and the bourgeois, right? Because there is that class struggle there, it is inevitable that you end up with communism. There is no other possible outcome. Right? So drop this understanding of it's likely to happen. That's not what he's saying. Like, be honest with what Marx is saying, lucid politics. Please, just be honest. If you're making a video called What is Marxism, actually tell us what Marxism says.
States. While Marx thought this was potentially going to happen and
Nope, nope, definitely going to happen.
Likely in some
Eventually
places,
going to happen.
he was largely wrong. In some places, there were Marxist-esque revolutions, such as that in the Bolshevik Revolution or the Maoist Revolution. Even these we can see as not being perfectly Marxist because of the states that came out of them.
Okay, so this is an insane point to take up. Okay, so it's not Marxism because it led to a state. Okay, so so really what we have here is that, well, true Marxism, they would be exactly the same, but then they would just willingly dissolve the state. It's like, okay, well, what about the criticism that they're never going to do that? Like, so there is no true Marxist implementation. What about that? Like, every time you try to implement Marxism, it's going to end up like the Soviet Union. What about that?
I think the difference between when Marxists say that's not true Marxism versus when we say that's not true capitalism is that they are basing whether it is true Marxism on the results of it, not the praxis of like what they will actually do. Instead, like we base our whether it's true capitalism based on what the system actually does instead of the consequences of okay, well, there's second order and third order things that arise.
Yeah, it's what were they even setting out to do in the first place? In the first place, the Marxist-Leninists, they were setting out to create a dictatorship of the proletariat, and god dang nubbit, they succeeded. They succeeded in creating that dictatorship of the proletariat.
This is something that happens, right? Whenever I like argue with a socialist on Discord or whatever, and I'm talking about like, well, we don't have real like we're not existing under capitalism right now. We're existing under a mixed market. And they're like, are you just saying that real capitalism has never been tried? And I'm like, yeah, I am kind of saying that. But the reason that makes sense for me to say, when it doesn't make sense for you to say that real communism has been tried, is because we have not followed the steps in the Rothbard playbook for like social change. Like we have not had a like situation where the you know the Rothbardian vanguard has taken control of a country to institute no government, no taxes ever, right? Like,
Yeah.
So you know we have like there is a direct violation of our principles in action here, right? Whereas for the communists, because they believe in contradictions, they don't really have specific principles. But also, to the extent that they have a plan, that plan was implemented to the letter in specific places where we can point to it. So, like, you can't say that wasn't what we had planned to do. It is what you planned to do, and it was done, and that's what happened. It's called war communism. It happened in the Soviet Union, and it didn't go very well for anyone.
Exactly. Feel very much like the Three Body Problem TV series.
Oh yeah, the Cultural Revolution. That's a really that Three Body Problem TV series. As I understand, they have the Cultural Revolution scene at the beginning, like it was in the original book, and that's the one thing I really saw of that show, and it's really like that got me to read the book. It's really striking, and it's really it even understates the extent to which the Cultural Revolution was fucking insane. Like, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, they would literally be saying, these are anti-revolutionary beliefs you're trying to teach in your classroom. Time to get beaten to death. Like, that is literally what happened if you're trying to teach, you know, the theory of relativity, for instance. That's anti-Marxian. That's anti-revolutionary. So we have to beat you to death. And this is... Why do they have to beat you to death? Why does there have to be violent revolution?
Because they can't argue with you.
Yeah, exactly. It goes right down to the metaphysics. There is no possible means... If you have bourgeois logic, there is no means for them to convince you of communism. There is no means, because you have a different logic that you're working under. This is the meaning of polylogism, term coined by Mises, means multiple logics. They are saying, well, those guys have different logic to us, so our only recourse, we can't reason with them, it's not possible. Our only recourse is to beat them into submission, to death even. They have to be killed, and then we can have communism. And this is inevitable. It's inevitable that they're going to try and kill you on their viewpoint. So, you know, I'm almost getting like a Casimir. Casimir is like kind of rising up within me and being my spirit guardian here. When someone's saying they're a communist, perhaps what you should read from that is they're saying, inevitably at some point, I'm going to try and kill you. If they're truly, they understand what being a communist means. That is the implication of the words.
Yeah, and the problem is, I've had this argument with Casimir before. It's like, well, can you take someone's ideology as a statement of criminal intent, right? Like, where, like, you know, if you go into an alleyway and a guy comes up to you and says, "I'm about to steal your wallet," and you can reasonably argue from legally that you're justified in defending yourself before he even does anything, because he's just stated his intent, right? Does that same defense apply to a communist? And I'm of the view that like often it doesn't. because most people who call themselves like communists or like state their political beliefs, they're largely inactive people. They're like, I believe this should happen, but I'm not actually going to do anything about it, right? But if you see someone who's like, I'm a communist revolutionary, I'm organizing for the communist revolution, I've bought 100 AKs so that I can arm the communist militia, right? Like,
Do not finish that thought.
To start, like,
don't finish the thought.
Electronics being me right now.
we all see where it's going. And yes, correct.
We're in fact not Marxist states. While the right-wing media would like you to believe that every instance of an authoritarian government...
By the way, when they say like right-wing media, bear in mind that leftists think that Reddit is right-wing. They genuinely believe that Reddit is a right-wing platform. The
right-wing stronghold, The Guardian.
Yeah, so you should take with a massive grain of salt whenever they say right-wing media. What they mean is that people who control media companies are wealthy. Like, yeah, okay, good, brilliant. And also Hassan Piker's wealthy, and also he's being funded by a Chinese billionaire. So good job. Your entire fucking...
He's a communist billionaire.
Yeah, he lives in China. And, by their terms, he is Chinese. So, if I get off the plane in Beijing, I am Chinese.
Exactly.
A repressive regime. We're all Marxist, socialist, or communist regimes. There has not ever been an exact Marxist model of a government implemented in history.
What would an exact Marxist model of government look like? What would it look like? Like, has he explained? Have I just forgotten because it's taking us so long to get through this? Has he explained? I don't think he has. Like, where did they depart? He said because they have a state. Well, isn't there supposed to be a dictatorship of the proletariat? Isn't that supposed to be a thing? Isn't there supposed to be central planning?
Is when the government does stuff. The more
exactly.
stuff the government does, the more Marxist it is. That's just it. There you go.
Like, what does it look like? Like, this is what I want to see from this video. What are the concrete steps that would have to be undertaken to have a true Marxist society being built? And would it never include dictatorship of the proletariat? Would it never include violent revolution? Like, I just don't think that's true. I do not think that's true. Let me...
I think I saw a video from Tick History where he said that what Marx wrote was that there's supposed to be a dictatorship of the proletariat during the transitional period, and then after that transitional period is finished, the government will just dissolve away. Like, how? Who cares?
Yeah.
But it will just dissolve away. And Tick basically said that, okay, so the Marxists basically advocate for anarcho-capitalism in the end.
Yes, and like...
True Marxism is anarcho-capitalism.
So we'll have anarcho-capitalism.
Moreover, then...
Everyone is free.
So then they did do every step up to that point. And then he's making a prediction, right? That when they reach that point, the government will wither away. Right? So maybe he was just wrong about that prediction. Because he predicted that when they get up to that point, the dictatorship of the proletariat, which they did get up to, when they get to that point, the state will wither away.
We might be cooking. Because what happened? What happened in 1989 or 1991? The USSR did in fact wither away. So maybe Marx was right. Maybe he was.
We currently live under communism.
Maybe Marx was right because the state did wither away, and then we got left with the KGB crypto state.
Anyway, let me go through a couple of super chats, then I gotta go take a piss. So I suppose you guys can take a piss right now if you want.
I'm good. I'm gonna.
I just went earlier.
All right. Griff1 None for $2. Thank you very much. The dialectic is just an epistemological shield. Yeah, because they can just move between stances at will. Diego Amateur for 2,500 CLP. Thank you very much. The true Marxist end goal is where the dictatorship engulfs the earth and takes society with it as it collapses. Yeah, because that's what they always say. We can't have Marxism in just this one area. We want to have it everywhere. It's like, well, if it truly worked, and like that's the whole thing where like, no, Cuba's poor because of sanctions, economic sanctions on them. That's why they're poor. Like, hang on, shouldn't sanctions mean that they're not being exploited by Western capitalists? So shouldn't that make them richer? Why would they suddenly become rich if there were in effect sanctions on the entire planet and everywhere was communism? Why would that suddenly make them rich? Why does that change? Not clear. And then Kira Saku Mune for $2. Thank you very much. Zulu is my favorite right-wing media. Well, thank you very much. Let me go take a piss. I guess you guys can chat amongst yourselves.
I guess I'll talk about like world building or something interesting as relates to politics. Ancap world building. Okay. Acorn and I can shoot the shit. We'll do it. Something that's interesting is like I know a couple of like socialists who do writing or like world building stuff, and inevitably there's this like really, and if they're kind of very honest, like because I don't really have like a beef with them, right? They do interesting artwork and they do interesting like writing. So I'm kind of more fascinated than I am argumentative. I don't really have a very disagreeable personality, so I can be friends with these people, right? But inevitably, you end up like kind of seeing the contradictions in their work. It's like, oh, we're gonna build a society where people are free, but also we have state planned production. It's like, okay, but like what? So like, what if the person wants to wants to do a business? It's like, well, you never want to anyway. It's like, really, really, there's just no reason to do it. Yeah, if you just go work at one of the bureaus. Great, but what if I have to go to the bureau and the entire bureau is like being retarded, so I need to do my own thing? Well, guess what? You're just fucked, bro. It's over. Kill yourself.
You have freedom, but you're just screwed.
Sorry, I can't say that. I can't say that on stream. I should have just give up. Go somewhere else. You know, it's like, you know, I like because usually like you see like socialist realism like artwork or like socialists who do like world building writing, and they're all trying to like depict a pleasant place to be, right? A pleasant life. So there's definitely like it's not like they want humanity to suffer, although there are some Marxists who probably do want humanity to suffer and like they just kind of like hate it. I actually have met people like that. I have to remind myself. They're like people who genuinely hate humanity, and they view capitalism as like an expression of why humanity is bad. And the fact that communism isn't here is kind of damning evidence against humanity, right? I've met people like that, but like most people, they're trying to imagine a pleasant life, right? I think that's what makes me so agreeable. It's like, well, this person might be a communist, but it's not that they're a communist because they want us all to die. They're just a communist because they don't know any better,
So,
What's up? What's up, Acorn? You want to say something?
sorry, my mind is currently kind of jumbled. I shouldn't be getting. I'm not sleepy right now, but my mind is kind of tired. So,
Well, I just woke up, so I'm like not sleepy, but I'm also not fully awake.
I mean, my sleep schedule is just completely messed up the past few days.
That's your own fault.
There's a few days where I just couldn't sleep at night. So I then tried this thing where I tried to stay awake for like the entire 2 days, so I can
then sleep the
be
proper
tired
time.
enough. Yeah, so I can be tired enough to sleep on time the next day. But then I got too tired, like around noon the next day.
And then you went to sleep.
yeah. So
Well,
that's
Acorn,
I mean,
I
like
think you need to
everything's.
consider, I don't know, staying off of your PC and phone for like the 2 hours before 10 p.m.
I mean, I think this started because I started reading The Fountainhead, and I was just reading The Fountainhead, and it got me thinking so much, and that was how I started like being unable to fall asleep, and it was not phone related. I got a paperback there. It's a paperback book, and I still couldn't fall asleep.
No. I have a solution for you. You need to get a copy of Human Action, right? And then the moment you go to sleep, you just open that, and you'll immediately. It's like a sedative. You'll be gone. You'll be asleep immediately.
I think I have tried reading the first few pages of Human Action, and it was kind of hard for me to get through at the time. So I guess I think that night I was kind of expecting like The Fountainhead to be similar to Human Action, but it was not. It was a lot more exciting.
It's an exciting book. It's good, bro.
Yeah. So the trying to fall asleep using the Fountainhead strategy backfired massively. Welcome back to Luke.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Good idea.
Marx never created a concrete roadmap for what an ideal state would look like. In many